I'm Jackie.
And together, for the final time, for this book, anyways, we are functionally literate. We are talking about, for the last time, the picture of Dorian Gray.
Dorian.
Today we are going to be discussing chapters 19 and 20. Fun fact, in the original version of this story, these two chapters were actually one chapter. For whatever reason, Oscar Wilde broke it up into two chapters.
I think it makes sense for them to be one chapter.
I guess. I mean, they are about completely different things, completely different settings.
Yeah, but they're both kind of shortish. So
and they're both very short when separated, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The final chapter more so. Anyways, we're going to jump into it.
Yeah.
How Dorian did a good deed and how Lord Henry doubted Dorian had changed.
I like that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I didn't write a thing, but Dorian says he's going to be a good boy would be how I'm going to say it. At first, when I read this chapter, I thought that it was kind of... We've had a couple of, throwaway chapters almost. Yeah. Ones that are kind of like, eh. And I thought this was going to be one, but I don't think so anymore, because there's a lot of symbolism in this one. Dorian is fresh off of finding out that James Vane has been killed.
I'm actually not sure how much time has passed since that happened.
All I know is Henry asks him, "Where were you yesterday?" And Dorian says, "I was in the country."
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is he probably just got back into town. How long ago had James Vane died? I don't really know.
I think it's been over a month, because he makes a comment when he's talking about Hetty. He makes a comment about how he's been, in this beautiful month of May, he's been visiting her 2 or 3 times a week. And I don't know. I get the impression that this happened after the house party.
Probable, yeah. Okay, yeah, good point.
I feel like it's been a month or so.
It's been a little bit. I would imagine still he's probably riding high from that realization. That, I mean, the literal last chapter ends with...
He was overjoyed.
He knew he was safe. His eyes were full of tears, for he knew he was safe.
Yeah.
So, however long had passed, I'd say he's still feeling fairly good.
So yeah, he's hanging out with Lord Henry at his estate. They're just gabbing. Henry is eating powdered strawberries and drinking coffee and insisting that Dorian play the piano for him.
Just posh as hell. So Dorian says to Henry, "Hey, I'm going to be good. I'm going to turn over a new leaf." And Henry says, "Well, yeah, right." Dude, nuh-uh. Prove it.
Doubt.
And Dorian says, "Well, look, I'll tell you how I've changed. I met a girl in the countryside. We fell in love, but I have spared her," he says.
He truly believed this was a good deed on his part.
Yes, he falls in love with her. He said that we were supposed to go away together, but then, he says, "Suddenly I determined to leave her as flower-like as I had found her." So, in comes some of the symbolism in this chapter that I really, really loved. Dorian starts talking about Hetty, and he immediately compares her to Sybil Vane.
Immediate.
He's
like, "Oh, you remember Sybil? Oh.
So long ago, huh?"
Yeah.
Sybil was, of course, Dorian's, I'm going to say first love, although...
Almost certainly.
I mean, I wouldn't actually call it love, frankly.
I mean, to him it was.
It was maybe as close to love as he had ever known for for a woman. But anyway, immediately compares her to Sybil Vane. Sybil Vane, of course, was the actress that killed herself because Dorian just ripped her up one side and down the other.
In the worst way possible. Oh my God, that was agony to read.
That hurt. Poor baby. So Hetty falls in love with Dorian in the country. He says he spared her. Henry doesn't think that that's actually very good of Dorian, because how do you know that Hetty isn't very, very, very hurt?
And he said, "Oh, well, I mean, of course her heart was broken and she cried, but, now she'll get to move on." And he's just like, what if you've ruined her? Like, what if you've ruined other men for her? What if she's dead in a pond somewhere? And he's like, oh, don't say that. And
so that he not only says, what if she's dead in a pond somewhere necessarily, he says, what if she is floating at present moment in some starlit mill pond with lovely water lilies around her like Ophelia? Ophelia, of course, was a character from Shakespeare's Hamlet, who drowns herself because of her, frankly, because of her overwhelming femininity, that she just can't control anything at all.
Oh. Okay.
So there's that.
But what do you think Henry is saying here?
I think that Henry is telling Dorian, it could be very well that Hetty loved you so much, like her love was so deep that she is so destroyed. Maybe, what if she killed herself too?
I mean, if she really is very much like Sybil.
They're so similar.
And Dorian's like, no, don't say that. And Henry, like, he just thinks this is like a novel experience for Dorian, and it meant nothing.
Yep.
Personally, I agree with Henry. Not about Hetty, mind you, but about Dorian. And, like, how this was, like, a novel experience for him. Like, I'm reminded specifically of an episode of Doctor Who. You ever watch Doctor Who?
I haven't. Don't come for me, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So there was this episode in the Revival series. It was the first season of the Revival, called Boomtown. In it, there was this alien terrorist who wanted to blow up the planet to escape. And she was like, it was real cartoon villainy bullshit, right? Like, she wanted to, like, harness the power of a nuclear power plant to blow up the planet, to harness enough energy that she could, like, escape.
Got to.
The Doctor captured her and spends a bit of the episode just keeping an eye on her until they could return her to her people. But at one point, they were having dinner. I don't remember the context.
Cute.
But they were having dinner, and the alien told him that she could change. And she told him a story about this woman who she intended to kill earlier in the episode. But for whatever reason, out of, like, some moment of compassion, she decided to let the woman live. And the Doctor said it didn't mean anything. He said, quote, "You let one of them go, but that's nothing new. Every now and then a little victim is spared because they smiled, because they have freckles, because they begged. And that's how you live with yourself."
That reminds me of The Princess Bride, when Wesley says that that's how he escaped with his life from the Dread Pirate Roberts, because he said, please.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Big different vibes.
Ryan, the Dread Pirate.
Right.
That guy was just like, I mean, you said please. Nobody ever says please. Hey, you can replace me. How about that? Let's just set you up because
That's
you said
fine.
please.
You seem nice.
Anyways, I think that's Dorian to a T. I'm pretty sure we actually discussed this in an earlier episode. He just so happened to be kind this one time.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean he will or has changed.
I wonder, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I wonder how the depth of Dorian's actual conscious. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, Dorian tells Henry, I can't handle this. Like, man, you mock everything I say. This is serious. I
will be better.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
He says, this is the first... This got me. He says, this is the first little bit of self-sacrifice I have ever known. And immediately, Henry says, yeah, you know what? People are still talking about Basil's disappearance.
Well, yeah, so Dorian changes the subject and he asks Henry about himself. And that's when Henry brings up Basil's disappearance. Henry reckons he ran off to San Francisco. They always run off to San Francisco.
They do.
Dorian wonders, he doesn't wonder, he's just postulating. He wonders if he was murdered, as some of the papers speculate. And Henry doubts it because he was too dull to have enemies.
Too boring.
He even cited the watch Basil wore. And I don't know the brand of the watch, but it must have been one hell of a boring
Waterbury,
watch.
please. Pshaw.
Do you know that brand?
I don't.
Okay.
Well, before this, though, Henry starts talking about, frankly, the two deaths that Dorian knows everything about, which would be, of course, Basil and Alan Campbell's suicide.
Yeah.
And, of course, Alan Campbell killed himself because of just the monstrous deed
Poor Alan.
that Dorian essentially, blackmailed him into.
Poor Alan.
So I love that brings that up to Dorian as well. Like, how long has he been, thinking about that too?
I don't like the way Henry talks about Basil here.
Me too.
Because I thought that they were friends, but he was just like, he was so dull. The only time he ever interested in me was when he told me about his infatuation for you.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't clever enough to have enemies. So Dorian asks him, Harry, did it ever occur to you that Basil was murdered? Too boring to be murdered? He had no curiosity?
What would you say if I murdered him?
And he says,
doubt.
Nah.
Nah, couldn't have been you.
He wasn't
Only
you.
the lower orders murder.
I should fancy that a crime to them what art is to us, of the plebs, of course. Simply a method of procuring extraordinary sensations.
And then he goes on to criticize Basil's painting. He says that Basil hasn't made a good work of art since he and Dorian were friends. The moment they stopped being friends, his art suffered for it.
It lost an ideal when you and he ceased to be great friends. He ceased to be a great artist.
And then he goes on about the picture of Dorian. He's like, the truly the best work of art he ever made was that picture he made of you. It's a shame.
Remember that?
You remember that? I only saw it the day that it was made. Where did it go? You said it was lost. That's a shame.
Did you look for it? Whatever.
Yeah.
So Dorian brings up Hamlet after that. He says he's sorry that he ever sat for the picture.
Yeah.
And he says that the picture used to remind him of some lines in Hamlet, and the lines read, like a painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart. Yes, that was what it was like. And Lord Henry laughs back at him. If a man treats life artistically, his brain is his heart. Hilarious.
What does that mean?
I feel like that means that Henry is a heartless slob. Like...
Well, he's getting divorced.
Apparently.
That was mentioned lightly.
Very.
Like...
I liked her.
He just casually mentions that he's getting divorced. And it's like, that's a shame. Whatever.
She was fine. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean... They clearly didn't care much for one another.
No.
So, it makes sense that they're getting divorced. I'm honestly surprised that it took them 18 years before it happened.
I was just about to say that, yeah. So, Henry, which the book describes as the elder man, obviously.
Yeah.
He was always older than him. But to me, that paints the picture of... Henry's pretty old.
10 years older than Dorian, so here he would be... pushing 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Henry says, by the way, Dorian, what does it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
Yeah, he heard this phrase from a street preacher who was fixating on the question, and so Henry had been musing on it. And it startles Dorian because, of course, the subject of his own soul is something that's been on his mind, I think, for years.
Here and there, yeah.
And he's just like, why do you ask? And Henry gives him a curious look, and he's like, because I thought that you could answer it.
Duh, dude. Chill. So Dorian turns around and he says, just don't even think about that, because the soul is a terrible reality. It can be bought and sold and bartered away.
He says that because... Henry gives an answer to the question that suggests that he doesn't think souls are real. If they are real, they are only real in, what was it that he said?
I'm trying to look right now. I will say, I liked the way that Wilde painted the picture of Henry listening to this street preacher and the people that are standing there listening to him. A ring of sickly white faces under a broken roof of dripping umbrellas. And I just loved that. I thought that was...
This is a poor man's sermon for poor men.
I thought it was really pretty.
Henry believes that anything one believes in with absolute certainty is an illusion. He says this because Dorian is absolutely certain that souls are real. And he's like, well, if you are absolutely certain, then you're wrong. Basically. And then he goes on about Dorian's youth and how jealous he is of it. He's like, oh, what have you done to remain young? I would give anything to be young, save for the things that, you're supposed to do.
To get back my youth, I would do anything in the world except take exercise, get up early, or be respectable. Same. Oh, God.
He's just like, you haven't changed a bit. And Dorian's like, that's not true. I've changed quite a lot.
Different.
Again, Henry doubts. He's like, you've never changed and you never will change. That's why I love you, Dorian.
So there's a part in here where Henry brings up, it seems to me that you are the young Apollo and I am Marsyas listening to you. So this was another symbolism time.
Yeah.
We already talked about, of course, Ophelia. So we'll talk now about, of course, Marsyas. In Greek myth, Marsyas was a satyr.
Oh.
Who challenged Apollo to a contest, a music contest. He thinks he can play the flute better than Apollo can play his lyre, I believe.
I think I vaguely remember this myth. How does it go?
He loses.
Of course he does.
And then he gets flayed. He gets flayed alive.
Jesus. I don't remember that part.
I'm sure Marsyas would prefer to forget as well. But I also found out, of course, that Marsyas ended up kind of being thought of like as a proponent of free speech, which was really cool.
Yeah.
He used this metaphor of you're the young Apollo and I'm just Marsyas listening to you. You are the god. I'm just trying to figure out your secrets right now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wasn't thinking about getting flayed alive when he made that comparison.
No, but guess what is being flayed? Is Dorian in that freaking painting?
Spoilers, we're not there.
Oh, jeez.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, dude.
It's okay.
Henry essentially begs Dorian to play the piano for him. He loves the way that he plays piano. Yeah. He wants him to play.
Yeah.
So, I found it really interesting what he asked Dorian to play and the composer and his life.
Okay.
So, I'll get into this. So he asks him to play some Chopin, Friedrich Chopin, who was a Polish composer. He was a composer in the Romantic era, so about the 1820s, 1810s, like early 1800s.
So this would be a not quite contemporary of theirs.
No, this would have been probably like their parents' music.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not quite contemporary.
Yeah.
Like a generation or two removed, but like still recent enough that they'd be very familiar with his music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not pop music. This is the oldies.
Oh, yeah. This is older than the oldies.
Yeah. Oh, so the thing about Chopin, again, Polish composer in the Romantic era, he composed mainly solo piano pieces. He composed a couple of pieces that weren't just piano solos, but he composed very technically demanding pieces that he played very well. But it was hard for other people to play them very well. And the thing about him is he was very, very shy, very quiet. He was a child prodigy. And you know the thing about child prodigies.
They're burnouts.
They end up kind of, burning out a little bit. Chopin, child prodigy, you could say that Henry maybe considers Dorian to be a child prodigy, sort of. Right?
Of a sort.
Of a sort.
Of his own making.
Right. Chopin very possibly may have been gay or at least bi. He had romantic interests in women, which are well documented. However, he did have relationships with men, and when I say relationships, I mean above the board letters, really.
Okay.
That revealed essentially homoerotic tones.
Sure.
Chopin only made about 30 public appearances in his life.
Really?
Yes. He typically would play in people's salons, like in their own homes. That's how he mainly made his money.
He made his money by privately performing.
Yes. And he again, only made about 30 public appearances. He was friends with Franz Liszt.
I don't know who that is.
More like frenemies. He's another composer.
Okay.
And Franz Liszt was a very showy and theatrical person.
Okay.
And when I read this about their friendship, frenemy relationship thing, I was kind of struck by how very like Chopin Basil kind of was. And how showy and wild that maybe like Henry is. So I think that Chopin is sort of a stand-in for Basil and Dorian.
Okay.
Kind of.
Interesting.
Friends list, I feel like, is big Henry vibes. So that's just my tangent. I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was really, really, really interesting.
No, that's all right.
I know it's all right.
He says to Dorian, and I thought this was odd, I am so glad that you have never done anything, never carved a statue or painted a picture or produced anything outside of yourself. Life has been your art. You have set yourself to music. Your days are your sonnets.
I literally highlighted the exact same thing. I'm one of those that I highlight my books, if you'll recall, listener.
I do recall.
So at this point, Dorian's like, yeah, my life has been fantastic. I'm not going to have the same life anymore.
Stop saying these things.
Quit it.
You don't know anything about me. I think if you did, even you would turn away from me. No, don't laugh. No, Stop laughing.
I really, really like the way that Wilde does that too. Like that in the middle of talking, he's reacting to obviously what's happening around him. It's very theatrical.
Yeah.
I just think it's lovely.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the guy's a playwright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is... I know that you are holding in your hands the complete works of Oscar Wilde.
She thick.
But how much of that book is his plays?
Quite a bit.
Right.
Well, a lot of it's essays, honest to goodness.
And then there's essays.
And poems, sonnets, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Henry's like, hey, you're fine. Why don't we go to the club? Whatever. Dorian's like,
I don't want
to. I'm done. I'm
fine,
over it.
but you will go on a ride with me and then go to tea tomorrow, yes? And he's like, must I? Yes, you must. It's like, all right, fine, I will.
So Dorian tells Henry, you poisoned me with a book once.
Yes. You must never show that book to anyone else ever again.
It does harm.
And Henry's like, what are you talking about? That's absurd. I'll show any books I want to whoever I want to.
It's just wild to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that Henry takes anything Dorian says seriously.
No.
He's not
Dorian is and always has been his toy.
His plaything.
His plaything.
We talked about that a long time ago.
He purposefully gave that book to Dorian to see what would happen.
Yeah, I did.
And he doesn't even know what he's done because Dorian is a human being who has his own secrets.
Oh, and how. So, must I really come with you, Harry? Dorian says. He says, yes, the park is quite lovely now. I don't think there have been such lilacs since the year I met you.
What's the symbolism of lilacs?
The thing about lilacs, guys, let me get in here. Lilac is a symbol of a flower which symbolizes youth, innocence, and first love.
So, of course, Dorian doesn't want anything to do with lilacs. Because even though he looks young, he's quite over being young.
Not a very lilac thing to say, Dorian.
So yeah, the chapter ends with Dorian being like, all right, fine, I will be here at 11, good night. And then he goes home. He walks home.
Well, he reaches for the door and he hesitates for a moment as if he had something more to say, then he sighed and went out.
Well, I'm sure he had lots of things to say. But they were all things that he couldn't say to Henry, the man that would never take them seriously. The only person that he could ever say anything genuinely to, he killed.
He did. God, and that hurts. Look, the whole Basil thing breaks my heart. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, anyway.
No, what were you going to say?
Oh, it's like Dorian just pushes away any authentic relationship that he can have with anyone. Sybil Vane pushes her away because she didn't fit his picture of her in his mind.
Yeah.
Basil pushes him away because he saw too much. He cared about him too much.
Womp womp, you did that.
Yeah. And then Hetty, and honestly, Alan too, like, these are people. These aren't just, ancillary characters in your life, Dorian. These are actual people with their own shit going on too.
It's a true irony that in his obsession to feel and see and experience and touch and just sense and experience new things, he likely has never actually had a genuine connection in his life.
No, despite people wanting to have one with him.
Yeah.
And I think at least one of those connections goes past his beauty, and that's Basil.
Yeah.
I just, like, when you're watching Romeo and Juliet, and Juliet starts to wake up, like, as Romeo is, like, stabbing himself. Like, right before that, you're watching it, and you're like, maybe this time they'll be okay.
Chapter 20. How Dorian destroyed his own picture.
About time.
About time.
Man. Or was it the picture which destroyed Dorian?
So, Dorian's walking home. As he does, some folks see him and whisper to themselves, "That's Dorian Gray." And he's getting tired of being recognized. Once upon a time, he'd love to hear the sound of his own name from someone else, but now he's just tired of being recognized. One of the nice things about the country is that nobody recognizes him there.
So he mentions that when he was with Hetty in the countryside, he had told her once that he was wicked, and she laughed at him and answered that wicked people were always very old and very ugly.
Well, as it so happens.
Guess what, man?
Guess what? I mean, you can't see it, but he's pretty old. He's pretty ugly.
Kind of ugly, man.
Pretty ugly. So he returns home, and he's thinking about his conversation with Henry, and he's wondering if it was true he couldn't change. Was this really just, like, his desire to experience something new? And so he starts looking at himself in a mirror, repeating to himself a phrase someone madly in love with him said to him in a letter. "The world is changed because you are made of ivory and gold. The curve of your lips rewrite history." And so he's repeating this phrase to himself, and then he starts to loathe the look of his own face, and so he smashes the mirror.
Which was a gift.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
From Henry. Oh, Henry gave him a mirror? No way.
No way.
Crying out loud.
And so then he wonders if what Henry had said was true. Had he spared Hetty merely to feel something new? He didn't believe it. And then he starts to think of the many people that he had corrupted and ruined.
Specifically the 3 lives that he had straight up ruined. Like, big ruined.
Yeah.
Which was... 4 lives, I guess. So Sybil.
Yeah.
James Vane.
Yeah.
Alan Campbell.
Yeah.
Basil Howard.
The thing with Basil really got to me. Because he thought of Basil, who had said so many awful things to him that he had to endure. And then, like, the murder was just an afterthought. It was just a moment of pique. He still was so patient having to listen to all of those things that Basil said to him.
It was he says it was the portrait that had done everything. It was nothing to him.
Yeah.
Alan Campbell killed his own self. I didn't do that.
That's not my fault.
Like,
is this murder gonna follow me forever?
God, when is this gonna go away? What? I wanted at a point for Dorian to, I don't know, care about these people. He just never did, man. Ever.
He the only level of care that he had for others was in relation to himself.
Yeah, that's true.
He always came first. Always.
So he decides, you know what? Nope. What I was talking about with Henry, I'm gonna do.
I spared Hetty.
That
must have changed the painting.
Surely the painting is better now. So he goes up. As he's walking up the stairs, he thinks it felt as though a load had been lifted from him already. I already feel forgiven. It's just like when he was writing that letter to Sybil.
So he goes up, he looks at the painting, and so to me, it's unclear if it actually had changed or if this was just his imagination.
I'm thinking that it had actually changed.
Okay, so in the description it says that he saw a glint of hypocrisy, and the blood on his murdering hand was now on both hands, and there was a little on his shoe.
Like it had dripped.
Yeah. And so he decides enough is enough. He's going to destroy the picture. This picture that is his conscience. He loved looking at it. He loved seeing it change over the years. But now he's grown to loathe the thing. It's time to destroy the painting. He would kill it, and in so doing, kill his conscience. He stabbed it with the knife that he used to kill Basil.
That he cleaned meticulously over the years.
Yeah.
Like, well, especially, since...
Out, damn spot.
Yes.
Out, I say.
So, yeah, this bright, glistening knife stabs the painting. Doesn't say where he stabbed it in the painting.
But we can make an assumption based on what happens next.
Yeah, you're right.
So here the point of view shifts away from Dorian. His servants heard a scream and a crash, waking them. Some folks outside heard it too. They summoned a constable. The constable recognized it as Dorian's home. The folks outside scoffed and left. One of them was the uncle of a Mr. Ashton, whose life had also been ruined by Dorian.
Yeah.
So as soon as he realizes whose home this is, he's like, oh, fuck that guy, and he leaves.
Yeah.
So the cops enter the home, they investigate, they try to enter the room upstairs, they can't. So a couple of the servants got on the roof, dropped to the balcony, where they could easily enter the room due to old, weak bolts.
Mm-hmm.
The story ends when the servants enter the room, where they saw a lovely picture of their master, Dorian Gray, and an old man in a nightgown stabbed in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
They did not realize it was Dorian himself until they recognized the rings on his fingers. The end.
His body was withered, wrinkled, and loathsome of visage.
This episode is brought to you by me. I made this show, and I really like making this show, but it's a hobby, which means there's very little money coming into it. So if you are in a position to financially support this show, and you like this show, there's a few ways that you can support the show. We have a Patreon where you can subscribe for $1 per month.
Just $1?
Just $1. That makes you a functional reader, which means that you can listen to the show without mid-breaks. You don't have to listen to this bit where I tell you that you can sign up for the Patreon, because you'll already be on the Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Alternatively, you can become an executive reader, which means that for $13 per month, you'll get to listen to new episodes as I finish editing them, which means you could just listen to any random episode that I finish editing at my whim. I'll just upload it to the Patreon, and then you can listen to it.
Do what you want.
Yeah, do what you want. We also have a PayPal where you can provide one-time donations of however much you would like to contribute.
Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee. Buy us a book. Honestly, I need a new computer. My computer is kind of on its last limbs, and that's what I use to edit. So that'd be cool.
I'm a fan of cute notebooks, if you're into that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I'm not saying you need to give us laptop money or notebook money, but just whatever you can pitch our way. If you liked an episode, give us some money.
Tip us in the tip jar, man.
Yeah.
A couple of bucks.
Exactly. Small donations are what make donations work.
They add up.
They add up.
Every little bit helps.
So if you feel like, oh, I couldn't contribute very much. No, whatever you got, man. Whatever you got.
Go for it.
Anyways, back to the show.
I mean, about right.
Yeah. I find it interesting that when he tries to destroy this picture, destroy the magic, the picture doesn't allow itself to be destroyed.
Yeah. Okay, so I was talking about this with my husband last night, and I do this thing where when a story is finished, a movie, it doesn't really matter, my mind can't help but think, okay, what happened next? What comes next?
What happens next?
Yeah. what happened next? Does somebody else inherit the painting? Does the painting take on their conscience? Does somebody figure out and burn the painting?
I imagine the picture is now a normal picture now. I don't think now at this point there is anything special about it.
The soul is released now. And
I think if someone tried to destroy it now, they would succeed.
Yeah, the painting probably is just a regular-ass painting now. But in my spooky little heart, I want to believe that there was always something a little bit mystical about this, and that the painting maybe still has got something going on with it.
I think that what happened to the painting after this, I hadn't thought about this, but I'm thinking about it now. I think likely what happened is that his picture, along with the rest of his crap, because he has no heirs. As far as I know, his family is dead, except maybe extended family.
There could be plenty of illegitimate children out there, though. Who knows?
I would like to think that because he's like this freakish energy vampire, he's incapable of having children, but we don't actually know.
Let's hope.
I mean, no mention of children ever comes up.
No, yeah, that's true.
But I think what happened is the picture, along with the rest of his laboriously extensive list of belongings enumerated in Chapter 11, go up for auction. And I think Lord Henry buys that painting and he keeps it, because I think that Dorian's death would be devastating for Henry, not because of the man himself, but because of all the work that he put into that man. And he just said that the one good thing Basil ever made was that picture of Dorian. Yeah. So I think he would go to great lengths to keep the picture and to just show it to people and be like, look at this man that I once knew, look at this beautiful man that I was friends with for decades.
Forgetting all of the things that Dorian did and was responsible for.
He didn't know about any of those things, and even if he did, he wouldn't have believed it.
True. So, do you think it's hard for people to believe that that's what actually happened?
What do you mean?
That Dorian's soul was enduring everything in the painting, and then when he died, he, I guess, reverted or somehow changed into...
I think there'd be a very big mystery surrounding it, because, I mean, you gotta keep in mind, Dorian only ever showed this picture to one person.
Didn't Alan kind of maybe see it?
Alan maybe saw it, but he never drew a connection to it. His mind was completely focused on, fuck, Dorian wants me to Breaking Bad this body.
Gross.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a real stinky room, dude.
It stunk of chemicals.
Hella stinky.
Yeah. And, yeah, I don't think the picture was at all on his mind. Maybe he thought about it, like, absently later on, but I don't think it would have been any sort of focus or fixation. It would have just been a weird picture of some old man.
True.
You know?
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
I think that very likely nobody would draw a connection between Dorian and that picture, save for maybe those folks at the opium den that speculate that he made a deal with the devil, if they ever found out about the painting.
Right. Yeah, they would.
I mean, I imagine there would just be a lot of confusion, like, how the hell does he look so old? What happened?
Right.
This can't be Dorian. And I bet there would be quite a few people that refuse to believe that that's Dorian.
Oh my god, so he lives on.
Yeah.
In this mystery.
Yeah, I bet there would be, like, some disreputable rag speculating about Dorian. Like, Dorian lives! He ran away to San Francisco!
God, so in this way, what Dorian wanted the entire time was, of course, for this to just all be over.
Yeah.
Ends up killing himself in the process, but still the mystery of Dorian Gray lives on.
Yeah.
I feel like Dorian would not be happy about that.
Yeah, probably not.
Years ago, he might have been.
Yeah.
But.
I mean, it would only last for so long. Eventually, as the years go by, he'd just be forgotten about. And then he'd be, like, just some guy that was speculated about on, like, lore or something.
Local legends. Yeah. So, the themes of Dorian Gray, of Picture of Dorian Gray, excuse me, are numerous.
Yeah.
One of them, of course, is vanity. Another would be, say...
Maybe molding?
Maybe molding.
Yeah.
Certainly influencing.
Because very early on, when the point of view is focused on Henry, it talks about how Dorian would be... I don't think toy was the exact word used, but would be his plaything. You know, he would influence Dorian so he could be his fullest self, and Dorian would never even know.
Right.
Of course, Dorian did know.
Fullest of himself.
Dorian did know because he straight up, before he kills himself, not that he realized that's what he was doing. He tells Henry, "You gave me a book once. You must never give that book to anyone else.
Yeah.
It's poison."
Tell you what, I want to read that book real bad.
Well, so I don't think that book actually exists, but the closest thing to that book you could read is Against the Grain by, how do you spell the name? How do you pronounce the name?
I don't see it.
Joris Karl. It's spelled Huysmans.
I would pronounce it Huysman.
Huysman. Joris Karl Huysmans' Against the Grain. A Rebors.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm not going to read that book because apparently that book heavily influenced Chapter 11, which I hate. I hate that chapter.
But remember, we shouldn't hate Chapter 11.
Let me repeat. I hate that chapter. I don't know about should or shouldn't. I just know about the facts and the reality of my feelings, which is I hate that chapter.
What do you feel about Chapter 11?
I feel like I've enumerated how I feel about that enough in the episode in which we discussed it.
So what you're saying is that you'd like to do a real good deep dive into Chapter 11.
Nope.
Real quick. Okay, I'm
Sure
ready.
don't.
Here, let me flip to that page. So we've talked about the theme in the book.
There's a lot of symbolism to do with flowers.
There's
with
a lot
aestheticism, hedonism.
I paid really close attention to the flower symbolism and color symbolism. I'm a writer myself, and so I tend to focus on the things that don't seem like they would be important, but are definitely details that were specifically chosen.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, this is kind of a love note to Oscar Wilde in that I think that you could see aestheticism, which is what Oscar Wilde championed, of course, as being a fairly empty or shallow, hollow movement. And I struggle with that a little bit, but I think that the way he used the symbolism of flowers and colors specifically gave a lot of depth to the characters.
I think you're right, but I want to take it, I want to twist it a little bit.
Please do.
I think that pursuing these things for their own sake is a hollow endeavor.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And that is what Dorian was doing.
Yes. So when Sybil Vane kills herself and he remarks, I need to plant some poppies.
Yeah.
Which we talked about, that poppies are a flower that would be like a mourning flower. And
but that is purely on Dorian's part.
People need to see me plant these poppies.
That is entirely for show.
Yeah.
Other people need to witness me performing this action to show that I am in mourning, rather than doing the hard work of actually mourning.
But the thing is that nobody else knew about he and Sybil.
No.
So even then...
So who's he performing for?
He was performing for himself.
Yeah.
Because we know that he felt oddly calm about all of it, weirdly unaffected. He was performing for himself the entire time, trying to make himself believe that he actually felt anything for her.
Part of me wonders if the moment Dorian wished that the picture would grow old rather than himself. If perhaps at that point, his soul was trapped in the painting and something else took over.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Because I feel like there was a distinct shift in the character that we saw at the very beginning of the story versus the man that we followed throughout the entirety of the story.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders if the true Dorian Gray was trapped in that painting and was left to suffer the fallout of what the hollow shell did without it. Possible.
When we read in chapter 11 about him going through the hall of portraits of his ancestors,
yeah,
I remember thinking, like, this is a man who's trying to connect to something, and he's trying to connect to his ancestors because that seems like something. I think it's rational.
Mm-hmm.
I think that rather than something else taking over Dorian, I think honestly that there was just something that was gone.
Yeah.
Just something that left. I think he still had his conscience, but that his conscience was always deeply flawed in the first place. He was a young man who was parentless, despised by his grandfather,
mm-hmm.
lonely.
Only had the servants to care for him, which, I mean, it's their job. They're not going to truly care for him.
Right. Lonely, beautiful, which is what they called me in high school, if you ask me.
Lonely and beautiful.
Yeah. One of those is true.
Oh, damn.
So, I'm hot now, though. It's fine. It's cool. You
Word.
hear that, class of Winfield 2005? You're just going to have to take my word for it.
Most people find their style and what makes them look good after high school.
Yeah, you're right.
Most people
I
do.
certainly didn't find it in high school.
I certainly did not either.
No.
God, I wore fucking combat boots.
Cool.
Yeah, but they didn't go with anything I wore.
Oh,
I
that's
just
a bummer.
liked wearing them.
So we were talking about the symbolism of flowers and colors. One of the things that Henry always had talked about was Dorian's rose-white boyhood. Of course, roses being, let me again flip back to my my flowers page in my notes here. So roses are most certainly the most noted flower in the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
Roses which symbolize love, beauty, passion, innocence, purity. It feels to me like roses symbolize, they're stand-in for a lot of things. And of course, white being a color of purity and innocence as well. Anyway, I really liked the symbolism that Wilde used, and I thought it really added a lot to the story itself. I think it's really easy to take aestheticism at face value and not dive much deeper into it.
I think this is one of those stories that I would have greatly benefited reading in high school or in college.
I don't think I would have gotten it in high school.
I don't either, but I don't know I fully got it now. I think much of the symbolism that I am getting a grasp on is coming from you.
Oh, thank you.
Like, cause a lot of what I'm reading, it I think a lot of it is lost on me. Certainly whatever was trying to be conveyed in chapter 11. Man.
Oh my god.
But I have a new hypothesis as to what happened to Dorian Gray.
Tell me. Already?
No, I mean like when he wished on the painting.
Oh, okay.
I think that when his wish was granted, it made him into a psychopath. I think what he wished was psychotic, and so when the wish came true, that was part of it. It's like, okay, sure, you'll be young forever, but you're a psycho now.
I want to agree with you because I like you, man, but also I have a hard time believing that he wasn't already kind of a psycho in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, we don't see enough of him prior to that to say for certain, but that's probably true. You're probably right. I don't know.
I've been pretty right the whole time.
Like, it's so interesting, the plot device of the picture.
Yeah.
it's the linchpin that symbolizes everything else that's in this book.
Yeah,
right?
tentpole.
Like, sure. It is vanity and hedonism personified.
Mm-hmm.
I will be immortal, the picture won't.
Yeah. What did he think was going to happen? He didn't think it all the way through,
no,
obviously, even when he realized what was happening.
No, I mean, it was literally, he had the most interesting 2 hours of his life in that moment, right?
Yeah.
He met this man who said all of these fascinating things to him.
Yeah.
And he didn't, like Henry wasn't saying things to, stoke his ego. Not necessarily. He was saying things that just really, really got him thinking, right? And then he started saying all that shit about, how he needs to value and prize his youth, because one day he'll be old and ugly. Mm-hmm. And I think that was just too much. And he's like, no!
Yeah.
Would the picture grow old and I remain forever young? It's not fair that this picture will be forever young. I hate this picture. Yeah. Destroy it.
I do think you're definitely onto something.
I think
there.
it was a young man's babbling. And I think it's very unfortunate that it came true for him.
And what does this teach us, young men? Quit your babbling, dudes. You brought up hedonism. And I think that opponents of the aesthete movement, mm-hmm. which Oscar Wilde was part of, would say that aestheticism is hedonism, that they're intertwined.
Really? Okay.
I think you could make that argument. I don't necessarily think so. But Oscar Wilde's whole thing was that art is just art for art's sake, boys. It's just all art, and it's okay. So in the preface of my book, he says that art is at once surface and symbol. And then he says that all art is quite useless. So, look, Oscar Wilde was a man king of the one-liner. Just the quippiest little bitch, for sure. God.
He does have a lot of repetitive quips, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like, when we were going through this story, I picked up on a few choice phrases mm-hmm. that I had definitely recognized from the 2 plays of his that I've been in. Mm-hmm. It's like,
This is why it was so easy for me to connect characters from The Importance of Being Earnest to the characters in this story.
Yeah.
Specifically, Algernon
mm-hmm.
to Henry.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
And
Basil
Algernon
and mm-hmm. Henry had very similar views on the subjects of marriage mm-hmm. and love, for sure. And women.
Yeah. I have questions for you about Algernon, but we'll talk about that later. He's a very quippy man who loves art and thinks that art, it says, to reveal art and conceal the artist is art's aim. Which is interesting because there was nothing concealed about Basil in that picture.
Right.
At all. Basil's heart was in that thing.
Which is why Basil didn't want to show it.
Yeah. Because
he thinks what I think Wilde thinks, which is that art should never show you anything about the artist. Which I don't...
This is why I say art for art's sake.
I don't think that's true. I think this is why I struggle with Death of the Author. Right?
Yeah.
I think that what you write about, there is something of you in that.
I fully agree. I think that without context of the author and their time, their background, their learning, all of these things, without that context, you don't get the richness of what the author brings to the story itself.
Which is why I greatly appreciated reading the uncensored version along with the classic version. Because I think there's a lot of context that I would have missed that was brought up in the general introduction of this book.
I'm glad you read that.
I highly recommend, if you are in any way interested in Oscar Wilde's works, getting a copy of the uncensored picture of Dorian Gray, because there is so much to learn in the general introduction and the textual introduction. And if you want to, and I wish I had done this, but I didn't realize what I was buying, if you want to really do a deep dive into the comparisons between the classic version and the original uncensored version, get the picture of Dorian Gray, an annotated uncensored edition. Get that, because that version will go into intricate detail about the changes between the original uncensored version and the classic version that everyone is familiar with.
See, that's the context we're talking about. I feel like without that, I feel like the version that you read had a lot more homoerotic detail in it.
But not nearly as much by my modern sensibilities as the book, the description on the back of the book led me to believe.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very tame. There's nothing explicit by modern day standards.
Right.
Like, there's not even mentions of kissing.
No smooches?
There's no smooches. There's nothing. There is no scene where Dorian starts shagging Alan Campbell.
Bummer.
Like, this doesn't happen. Like,
yeah.
There's allusions to these relationships, which at the time was scandalous.
Right. That's the 1890s for you.
Yeah. I mean, for God's sake, they didn't even have the word for homosexual.
Yeah, so that was one of the first things we talked about about this book, and I told you to prove it, and boy, did you.
Yeah. Like, I think, based on what we've read, this book did a lot for pushing the queer movement in England.
Absolutely.
And that is absolutely why he had to serve time in prison.
Yeah.
Because he brought light to that.
Yes.
Like, he shined a big fat spotlight on this thing that in good society was secret. It was like an open secret. Like, yeah, okay, there's like, men will be with men, but like, they know that that's not something that they can do openly. They know they have to get married to a woman. They know they have to have heirs. They're like, this isn't, like, everyone knows that this is not something that is openly acknowledged, and we're fine with that.
Right.
And here comes fucking Oscar Wilde, like, hey!
Guess what?
Come check out my book!
I do have a wife and heirs, but also,
Dorian is the man I want to be.
This is the thing about Oscar Wilde, is he does end up being a queer icon.
Yeah.
In the queer community.
Yeah.
I like to think that the man is a bisexual, possibly even pansexual. I don't know. Was he gay and he had to do what he had to do based on the standards of the time? Who knows?
It seems to me, based on what the introductions in the uncensored version of the book say, it seems to me that he married his wife purely for good society reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If he were permitted to live his life the way he wanted to, I think he would have almost exclusively dated men.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he really had much interest in women. I think that's a big reason why he's so cynical about marriage.
Yeah. So that's another thing. We've talked about vanity. We've talked about hedonism and how the book really kind of connects that to aestheticism, subconsciously even.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about the theme of men and women.
Yeah.
So there are only a few female characters. This book does not pass the Bechdel test.
You don't say.
Not even close. There are only a few female characters, and I feel like the one that has the most depth is Sybil Vane, I guess.
And even then, that was an additional chapter. That wasn't in the original version of the story.
Right.
That was written later. Probably after he had received quite a bit of feedback about his original story.
Correct. And Sybil Vane, from Dorian's perspective, was what he wanted her to be.
Mm-hmm.
He refused to see her after she had fallen in love, after she tried to explore this emotional connection with him. So this also, we've talked about Oscar Wilde's homosexual world.
Yeah. And
the fact that his marriage might have led him to have pretty negative views on marriage in general.
I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, I don't think you can separate death from the author.
You really
simply
can't.
Because of the connections between Lord Henry and Algernon. Yeah. These were two completely different works, and these two characters say very similar things.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the subject of men and women and marriage.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask you about Algernon. I know that neither of us are experts on this.
No, but I acted out the character.
You did, and you did it really well.
Thank you.
I might say. You're welcome. It was one of the best times I've had in years and years, getting to participate in the importance of being earnest and becoming friends with everybody.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. But as far as Algernon goes, and essentially how Algernon and Lord Henry are, I'm going to say the same character. I mean, for lack of a better term.
I wouldn't go that far.
I think he would have been if he hadn't have found
Cecily.
Mm. Yeah. I could definitely see him aging into Henry.
God, I hope not. I don't think anyone should age into Lord Henry.
So my wondering, and this is kind of off subject slightly, but it does pertain to Wilde's work, and I wanted to get your view on Algernon, since you're kind of the closest thing to him, really.
Sure.
Do you think that Algernon actually cared about Cecily?
No, I don't. I
don't think so either.
I mean, he tells the audience, I'm in love with Cecily and that is everything. So, I mean, if you want to interpret what he directly tells the audience as truth, then sure. Mm-hmm. But
does he know what love really is?
And that's, I think, what it boils down to. I think that he believes he's in love with her, but I also think that the thing that's going to keep him married to her is the fact that she's rich. Which he did not know when he proposed to her. True. He did not know that.
I really think... Okay, look. It was my thought that Algie proposed to Cecily out of spite.
I think so, too. I think Algernon's whole thing was that his good friend, Ernest, was a liar. And so he's going to ruin that guy's life.
I will be a liar, too.
I'm going to pose as your brother... I'm going to make you show your whole ass to everyone, and I'm going to steal your ward. That was his goal, and he succeeded.
So, truly in that vein, I do think that Lord Henry and Algernon are essentially very, very similar characters, if not the same one. I feel like it's almost a copy and paste that Wilde did. I wanted to get that thought from you because... you're a man as well, and I don't like to just lump men into thinking something, but I've never pursued a pretty girl.
So here's what I'm going to say about men. And I'm going to put this caveat in there. I am not talking about all men, but I am going to paint some very broad strokes right now.
Let's do it.
I'm going to paint some very broad strokes right now.
Yeah.
Men are not suited for monogamy. They're not. Men don't want to be monogamous. Men want to fuck as many women as they can get away with. Or if they're gay, as many men as they can get away with. They want to love everyone, and they want to love openly and freely. Mm-hmm. That's what they want to do. But we live in a monogamous society. And so they have to say, no, I want to marry that woman. But then... secretly, privately, they're thinking about other women. They want to have sex with other women. Some of them go the extra mile and have secret illicit affairs.
Or not so secret illicit
Or
affairs.
not so secret illicit affairs.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be tied down, despite saying the opposite. They want to do as they please. They want to openly love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what leads to Oscar Wilde's resentment of marriage.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Oscar Wilde resents women?
I think he probably did. But I think he also had the conscience of mind to realize that it wasn't women specifically, but it was the society that he was stuck in. Based on, admittedly, the limited things that I've read about him. Because, I mean, like, look at Lady Windermere's fan, for instance.
I'm not very familiar with it, I'm sorry.
Lady Windermere was a fleshed out character. Like, I personally think that was a female character that was written very well. She was a woman who loved her husband, but she was caught up in what society was saying about her husband. And then here's this man that's like, hey, your husband is cheating on you. He's awful. Just run away with me. And she's like, no. Mm-hmm. I don't have the strength. I don't have the courage. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to work this out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that a lot of women would do. Not every woman, because, you know, the other part of that story is Mrs. Erlyn, her secret mother, who was in the exact same situation as her daughter, and did run away and was shunned from society, and now she's trying to claw her way back in. Dorian was witness to that.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, that's true. So you don't think that Oscar Wilde disliked women necessarily on the whole?
I think that he probably many times resented women. And
because of society and not because of their sex in the first place.
I think. That's what I think.
I hope.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know the man. Like, you know, for God's sake, he died like over 100 years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what I think. I don't think he resented women specifically. I think he resented his relationship with women.
The relationship he was kind of forced to have with women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure that he loved his wife, but I don't think that it was in the way that society would want him to love his wife.
Right.
Like, I'm sure he cared greatly for his wife. I mean, for God's sake, she was the mother of his children. But that's a very different thing from romantic love.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the theme of men and women, again, something we've talked about. Now I want to get into the theme of sexuality.
Yeah.
Which we've touched on as well.
Yeah.
You can't not. Crying out loud.
No.
So Oscar Wilde's sexuality, of course, is something that got him into trouble back then. Gets him celebrated now. And you read a variety of the book where, of course, a lot more detail about the relationships that Dorian had were laid out. And, of course, the relationships that Dorian had were not only with women, but with men as well.
The original version of the story leaves me with the impression that he had many sexual relationships regardless of gender. Mm-hmm. Which, in the classic version, all of that was toned down. All of the homosexual references were eliminated as best as they possibly could, which they couldn't do. Because even in the classic version, you got hints of like, oh, there's some gay stuff going on here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But like the heterosexual relationships were toned down as well because they didn't want there to be this implication that Dorian was having affairs with married women either. Mm.
Early on in the book, of course, when we meet Basil, Basil's talking about Dorian with Henry. He describes this person that, for lack of a better word, he's essentially fallen in love with. Whether that love is sexual or not, I don't know. But he
loves him, and he feels like he should be ashamed of it.
Yes. Doesn't your heart break for Basil even more? With that?
Poor guy.
Yeah, I love Basil so much.
His love was misplaced.
Probably.
No, for sure it was. The man killed him.
Yeah, true. So, let's talk about Basil and Dorian's relationship.
Sure.
Briefly. And, like, basically, let's talk about the relationship between these three men.
So we got Basil, we got Henry, we got Dorian.
Right.
Originally, Dorian was friends with Basil, and Basil was friends with Henry, and Henry and Dorian knew nothing about each other. The glue tying these three men together is Basil.
Yeah.
I'm unclear on how Basil and Henry were friends.
It seems a really unlikely friendship, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I always wondered if he was like, if Basil was like the friend that Henry felt he kind of had to hold on to. Like the one thing tethering him to humanity.
I think that's probably fair based on the conversation that they have in the first chapter.
Yeah.
Because Henry says all of these horrible things, and Basil's like, you don't mean that. And then Henry opines on why people in society will always say things like that. Like, oh, you don't really mean that. Why are you discrediting what I'm saying? What does it matter if I believe it or not? I'm saying it.
So, it seems as though Basil and Henry might have been school friends.
Oh, okay.
And I think this because of, in chapter 1, he and Basil are talking, and Basil tells him, I don't think I'm going to send this picture that I'm working on anywhere. Tossing his head back in that odd way that used to make his friends laugh at him at Oxford. No, I don't think I'll send it anywhere. So they must have been friends at the very least.
They were college friends.
At college.
They were university friends.
At Oxford, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you cross paths with people in college and then they kind of just stick.
Yeah. So, Oscar Wilde has said that these three men represent three different versions of him.
Right.
Right? So, the Wilde Trinity, right? One of these men...
I love that.
One of these men represent the man he actually is.
Basil.
One of these men represent the man that people view him as.
Henry.
And one of these men represent the man that he would like to be.
Dorian.
Right. And so that colors the relationship that these three characters have. What does it say that the man that everyone views Wilde as is the one that is molding the man he'd like to be? What does it say that the man he'd like to be murders the man he is?
That's deep.
What does it say that the man that everyone views him as does not understand the man that he is? And it's okay that there's no answers to these questions.
I don't think I could come up with them.
These are questions that I want people to think about. Like,
absolutely.
Think about those interrelationship dynamics, because these three characters are the most important characters of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though Basil is in it very little, and Henry is in it not much more than that, they're still important.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think Dorian ever had any kind of sexual attraction to Henry?
You know, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. What about vice versa?
I don't think so. I think that Henry was... I mean, he certainly thought that Dorian was beautiful.
Sure.
But I think he was more interested in, like, the kind of person that Dorian was, the personality that he could see under the surface that he wanted to bring out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm pretty sure I've said this before. I think his only real interest in Dorian was, I mean, he says it himself. I mean, he doesn't say it himself, but he thinks it himself. In one of the early chapters, I think it was like chapter 3 or 4, how Dorian was going to be this person that he was going to mold. And he was so excited to see what Dorian did with his life.
Yeah.
Once, like, the true version of himself was on Earth.
Yeah. I remember in one of those early chapters, Henry thought to himself that he was going to be, for Dorian, what Dorian was for Basil.
His muse.
Yeah. This thing that, like, opens up his eyes. So in terms of the sexuality aspect of this book, I feel like it's pretty obvious, pretty flagrant, especially through a modern lens.
Yeah.
I think that the theme of friendship in the book is something that really just slides right into the sexuality part.
I think they go hand in hand.
They
is
definitely
the message.
do. Yeah. It's clear that aestheticism was an incredibly important thing to Oscar Wilde, which is why Chapter 11 was what it was,
Yeah.
whether you hate it or not.
Yeah.
And I really think that the
Bye.
picture of Dorian Gray was Oscar Wilde just screaming and crying and trying to reach somebody who could
I think
understand him.
I think this was him trying to tell the world, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because Dorian couldn't,
Mm-mm.
Basil couldn't,
Mm-mm.
Henry wouldn't.
And Henry would be like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? That's not me.
Yeah.
Which I think is why Henry is the straight one.
Yeah.
Because everyone viewed Wilde as what society needed him to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Absolutely. I have had an incredible amount of fun doing
me
this.
too.
I cannot wait to talk about another piece of classic literature.
What would you
with
like that to be?
I would like to sort of get into female authors,
Absolutely.
specifically classic female authors, something like a Jane Austen,
You've
possibly
said you
a Bronte
wanted
sister.
to do a Jane Austen novel.
I would really love to talk about Jane Eyre with you. I have read it. I don't think that that's going to be an issue for me, because I could reread it right after another, like end to end.
Now, I will warn you, there's a tendency with this series when we critically analyze our favorite texts that our opinions sour on them.
I don't see that happening. I have been reading Jane Eyre since I was 14 years old, and I'm still in love with
You've
it.
been reading it. Do you annotate? Do you take notes?
In one of them I do.
Okay.
You know how many that I have?
Okay. All right. So what you're saying is you're prepared.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm a student of Charlotte
Well,
Bronte.
I'm down. I'm down to read Jane Eyre, a classic novel, with you.
Are we committing to this?
I'm down to commit to reading Jane Eyre with you.
This is a podcast handshake. You've heard it here.
This is a podcast handshake. We are shaking hands right now. Hands shook. We're going to read Jane Eyre.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Okay.
I'll see you next time, baby.
All right.